Hi, welcome back. Mitch Argon here with Calneva Realty. I'm going to take you through the greater Reno Tahoe real estate market numbers in just a few minutes. Let's get started. Okay, let's jump in with price first and take a look. Here's the median price of September 2022 compared to 2021 over in this column. And for the first time in quite some time, you do see a negative number. You can see the Reno median price at 540 is 10,000 or 2% less than where it was in September of 2021 at 550. I'll show you what that looks like visually on a chart here in just a moment as well, and see if that price holds as we go forward. The other markets you can see are mixed, moving towards smaller numbers, but you still see Carson City and Carson Valley on an annualized year-over-year basis quite high. We expect that to come down and certainly get into the single digits as we go forward. I'm going to show you in just a moment a chart that shows you where we were compared to just a month and 2 months ago, but this is the average over the last 6 months. With the rate of change we've seen in our markets, just looking at a year over year is not always the most accurate way to reflect what's happening or the rate of change in the markets. So this chart does show you the median price over the last 2 years, and it shows each of the markets down below. And here I'll just focus on the Reno market. It's the largest market in the region. But you can see here that during the second quarter, we're up here in the 630, 635 range. We drop down to around 600 here for a couple months, and then drop down again to this 540. I don't know that this will be a trend. You can see the markets are up and down on a month-by-month basis. I expect this will probably settle somewhere between this 540 and that 600 here as we move into October and November. But we'll see what happens there. As far as homes sold, we continue to see less demand in the marketplace, substantially less than what we saw a year ago. So you can see that most of the homes sold in through here are down, I'll probably say 20%, probably about 20% from where we were a year ago. It's really important to note when we're looking at this, that this is not the only measurement of demand. A year ago, we were seeing multiple offers on many homes in the marketplace. So for every home that's sold, we may have had 2, 3, or 4 buyers that were trying to buy that, or for many homes that sold. And so this drop in the number of homes sold is representative of a drop in demand, but the actual demand in the marketplace has dropped off quite a bit more than what you're seeing here. It's dropped off more than 20 or 25%. And I'll show you a little bit more on that in just a moment. The month supply of inventory I'll talk about in just a few minutes here on a different chart. This one shows you the housing units for sale or inventory by each market in the region. And you can see that it's up substantially now from where we were roughly a year ago, but it has leveled off as you can see it flattening off, which it tends to do on a seasonal basis, as you can see through here as well. We are probably about 2 times the inventory now compared to where we were a year ago. And you can see that in the numbers down below here. And just by way of reference, some of the markets in the national media that have been getting a lot of attention for being highly overheated include markets like Phoenix, Las Vegas, Boise, Idaho, Austin, Texas. Those markets, from what I've seen in my news feed, are running at about 3 times the inventory levels compared to where they were a year ago. So we're certainly up. There's no denying that. We're about 2x from where we were a year ago. Those markets are up at 3x. So it's just by way of reference. How would we compare to other markets that have had significant price appreciation during the COVID period? Month supply of inventory. Again, you can see we're up across the board substantially. However, still technically in buyer territory, with the exception of Tahoe, which is right there in a balanced market down here at 5.1. These numbers have moved up slightly. I'll show you what that looks like. They're up quite a bit from a year ago, but if you look at this on a month-over-month basis, you can see there tends to be a bit of a flattening in through here. Still moving up very at a gradual rate, but it's much flatter here through the summer and into the early fall compared to what we saw earlier in the year when the rates started climbing. So the markets, well, there's been a lot of change. We also see some points of stability, as you can see in inventory and in the month supply of inventory. So the market seemed to be settling in. Of course, that's all subject to further rate increases, because every time the Fed raises the rates, it does decrease demand, and that impacts the fundamentals of the market that we're looking at right now. Wanted to include this this month. I update this chart only once a quarter. The other charts are updated every month. This is the bubble chart. I've had this in a few these YouTube videos over the years. And what I wanted just to illustrate here was that you can see that this Q2, which is right here at the high point here, this is the median price of Reno and Sparks combined. It's probably going to be a high watermark. That was carryover, a lot of forward momentum when the rates were lower. Homes closed in the second quarter, pushed that number up pretty high, as you can see, about 600,000 combination of Reno Sparks median price. And you can see we're down from that here in Q3. And that will probably come down a little bit further as well as we settle in to this correction period that we're in. So a lot of people think this is going to come down here in these negative numbers. I think there's speculation on that. What the experts are saying, however, is that it's not likely to see a correction that's as great as we saw back in 2000. This actually started in 2005 and went through 2012. And there's a number of factors that make this market that we're in right now very different from the market that we were in, say, well, 15, 17 years ago when we started coming down. Some of those things are the lower inventory. There's a lot of building that was not completed during this recession period. So there is still fairly low inventory relative to where we were before. So that's probably going to continue because there's a need for more housing on a national basis than what we had built in the last 10 years. Other factors include the resistance of sellers to sell. That's really a combination of things. One of them is the fact that people have more equity in their homes now than they've had really ever. We didn't see that back over in here because people are getting loans with very little down, and with these funny adjustable rate mortgages, we don't see that as much over in here. So people are in a much better equity position. And a lot of sellers don't want to sell because they may have an interest rate that's 3%, and they don't want to sell a home with a 3% mortgage and then have to go buy a home with a 7% mortgage. So that's keeping inventory a little bit tighter than what we saw in this last major correction in the markets. So time will tell as we go forward. But the consensus is that we'll see prices continue to probably go down a little bit further through the remainder of 2022 and into 2023, perhaps in the first half. Stabilization the second half of 2023, and then some modest appreciation maybe towards the back half of 2023 or into early 2024. So that's what I've been reading on the timelines. I'm just sharing this with you just to kind of put this in context for our market. We'll see what the numbers are as we go forward into how those prices end up over that timeline. But that's just a quick snapshot here on this quote unquote bubble chart. Okay, that's it for this month. I hope this information has been useful for you. If you have any questions, of course, please feel free to reach out to any of our agents. We've got about 30, in the low 30 number count of 30 agents in between our Reno office and our Minden office. And we'd be happy to help you with anything that you've got questions on related to real estate in Northern Nevada. Have a happy Halloween. Hope this video finds you well, and we'll see you next month. Thank you very much.